askreddit. What healthy food is actually way more unhealthy than most people think? Those salads at fast food restaurants. It's mainly the dressing. Between dressing, deep-fried crispy chicken, croutons and cheese, that salad is a seriously dense calorie bomb. Think of it this way. If you took that handful of lettuce out, what have you got on your plate? Don't forget the bacon bits. Bottled fruit juices. Relatedly, smoothies. Really depends on what you put in them. Yogurt and berries don't magically change how healthy they are just because you put them in a blender. But if you start adding juice, higher sugar fruits, etc., that can change pretty quickly. Wait, aren't berries and Greek yogurt good for you? I also add peanut butter, protein powder and a tiny bit of light apple juice. What are some healthy recipes? The apple juice is a little sugary, but the rest is fine. There are some concerns smoothies might spike your blood sugar a little more because the fruit is sort of pre-chewed, but otherwise the fiber and the nutrients are there. While the things in smoothies are often good for you, it doesn't take much to end up with a super high-calorie smoothie. If weight control is something you're concerned about, drinking several hundred calories while thinking "but I'm so healthy because I had a smoothie" is exactly why it can be not good for you. Low-fat or fat-free foods would taste terrible if left as is, so manufacturers add a lot more sugar, fat, salt, sugar. If a food is labeled as low in one of these, it most likely has extra of the other two. A lot of muffins might as well be cupcakes. Don't know if anyone thinks Nutella is healthy anymore, but they were advertising as such for a while before getting in trouble. It's literally chocolate icing. Fun fact: chocolate icing has less fat, calories, and sugar than Nutella. Cereal. They tell you it's part of a complete breakfast, but this lady I used to work with worked at General Mills. They had to monitor the sugar content in the cereals to ensure it did not go past 49%, I think, or else it legally became candy. Not a perfect answer, but with so many cereals trying to promote health, you need to remember this. Vitamin water has over 32 grams of sugar per bottle. It's essentially sugar water. So not only is it gross tasting, but it's not even good for you. Granola bars. I have no idea where the healthiness perception of these things come from, but they're basically just empty carbs and sugar. If you're on a hike, yeah, they're a great option to keep you going, but when I see people snacking on them at the office, I'm just like, why? I think the healthiest part of a Nature Valley bar is the crumbles that fall to the floor, preventing you from consuming them. My toddler is a fan of bars and they are undeniably a convenient and portable anti-hungry device, but holy hell, you really have to read labels. The sugar content in some of them is insane. And the rampant inclusion of chocolate chips. It doesn't matter if there's a few oats in there, if it's got a bunch of chocolate in it, you're firmly in this is candy territory. Yup, this. We keep emergency Nutri-Grain bars around to toss in our bag for a snack if we are out and about for our toddler, but that's as a please stop hangry screaming if we aren't home or need a desperation snack on the go. I do not operate under a delusion that I am giving my kid a healthy snack. It's pie, but in a bar. Fruit snacks and fruit juice. Any fruit-oriented snack that isn't pure unadulterated fruit probably has as much sugar as a candy bar. I brought in a bottle of kombucha to my microlab and took a sample under the microscope. It was like House of 1,000 Corpses. There were 5, maybe 6 alive bacteria, but they weren't living their best life. They were hardly moving. Many bacteria corpses though. And yes, I made sure to check the expiration date, keep the bottle chilled in the correct temperature. I didn't shake or agitate it. I wanted this to work. We also took some Activia yogurt under the microscope and saw lots of happy little bacteria being helpful little probio bros. Are you sure the bacteria were dead, and not just dormant due to the temperature? I know at least some kombucha has live stuff in it. I bought a case from Costco and forgot to refrigerate it. Oops, and after a week or so they were incredibly overcarbonated. Oh, that's a good thing to ask. I did 3 rounds, increasing the temp with each round. I didn't plan on doing the 3 rounds, but after the first look, we thought the same thing about the possibility of dormant bacteria. And by the time we finished scoping them, they should have all been up and thriving. If they were healthy bacteria. People seem to think that vegan and/or vegetarian automatically means healthy. They have clearly never eaten a packet of double stuff or O's when hungover. Anything gluten-free. It's not inherently healthier just because it has no gluten. Do you have celiac disease? Gluten allergy? Gluten intolerance? If the answer is no to all of them, stop paying extra. If little Johnny ate a whole pizza and then threw up, it's not cause of gluten. Get tested. If not, there is really little to no reason to avoid gluten. As glad as I'm the gluten-free fad dieters have made people more aware and helped get options available for people who might have such things. You don't need to suffer needlessly for a fad. Signed, a person who was gluten-free in the 90s. Yes, I suffered a lot more than people with celiacs or allergies now, but I hold no resentment because they actually get to eat out and not go broke paying for food. Anything that has now with 0% X on it really. People need to realize that there will always be something replacing that ingredient to keep the product tasty. Yogurt with a shitload of sugar in it. My friend feeds her fat kid kefir thinking it's healthy, but it's got as much sugar as a candy bar in it. Raisin Bran is essentially candy. Dehydrated fruit. People tend to eat more dried fruit to be equally as satiated as a piece of fresh fruit, but that just leads to more calorie consumption. I once had a trail mix and a can of Coke while I watched a movie. The trail mix was the kind that had craisins in it, and I eat trail mix like a psycho. I grab a handful, eat the seeds and nuts first and the fruit last. At the bottom of the bag were all the craisins, so I had like 10 in one handful. I opened my can of Coke and took the first swig, and it tasted like water in comparison to the craisins. It made me realize how sugary dried fruit is. Tic Tacs are like 100% sugar. They just get away with saying they're sugar-free as each individual Tic Tac is too small to contain the minimum amount required by law to be listed. I don't think anyone is claiming that Tic Tacs are healthy. No, but as a diabetic who pays a lot of attention to the sugar content of my food, this one really makes me mad. It's not hard to imagine myself screwing up my blood sugar by assuming they're a sugar-free snack since the label says it has no sugar. I don't understand the amount of people who think high calories or any amount of sugar or fat equals unhealthy. That's just simply not true. There are good and bad sugars and fats. Avocados, honey, fruits, salmon, all are good fats, sugars which your body needs. Everything comes in moderation. Just because it's calorie-dense doesn't mean it's unhealthy. Unhealthy is something like a burger from McDonald's, not having avocado on your toast. I feel like people also associate healthy with losing weight. If you don't need to lose weight, you should still be eating healthy, but it's probably going to look a little different and you have more room in terms of calories. Incoming comments of things that are nutritious but people don't consider healthy because they're high in calories and other random shit they read on a blog whose ultimate goal is to convince them to spend money on something at some point. Olive oil is healthy even though it has calories, and fruit is healthy even though it has carbs. Dairy and red meat are fine. People who have been consuming them for centuries and they did shit like building pyramids using just their hands. You don't need to live off of bland chicken breasts, broccoli, and scrambled eggs to be healthy. Also, people need to learn the difference between added sugar and natural sugar. The sugar in fruit is not the same sugar in candy bars. I think one of the biggest reasons for the obesity epidemic in America is the overcomplication of nutrition. A new food is unhealthy every week. All food is unhealthy if you eat too much of it. It's all about moderation, not the actual food. With that said, margarine. It's not any better for you than real butter, it's actually worse on cholesterol. It's all about quantity, not quality. You can get fat eating fruits. They have a lot of sugar and people don't watch their calories because it's healthy. You can lose weight, or maintain a healthy weight, while eating unhealthy foods in moderation. Norwegian salmon. Extremely polluted. 3 to 4 times more toxins than a hamburger. A doctor once told me that shitty farmed salmon from polluted waters may well be healthier than a grass-fed hamburger. Cold water fish is just that much better for you than other meats. Agave nectar. Much worse than honey, almost as bad as actual sugar. High fructose corn syrup and agave nectar have pretty much the same mix of sugars in them, but people make wildly different judgments about them. I always hate when this question is asked. Most foods are not inherently healthy or unhealthy. It's your diet that is healthy, unhealthy. Don't get mad at the yogurt/juice/granola bars for having too much sugar or making you gain weight. They didn't do anything to you. You just didn't have self-control. You have people out there who will eat a gigantic 2,000-calorie meal at dinner, but they'll skip the dessert because it is sugar, and sugar is bad. And then many of those same people will eat foods with a particular ingredient, like an acai bowl, because of the exaggerated health benefits. Bagel. Some consider it a reasonably healthy food to start the day, but once processed the end product and effect on the body is pretty similar to a bowl of Skittles. Honey. Many people started to use honey to avoid white sugar. It became a trend a few years ago. And because people assume that it is healthy, they can be generous while adding it to their desserts. However, honey contains too much sugar and can make people gain too much weight. Especially bad for people who have diabetes. Peanut butter sold by big brands, at least here in India. Lots of sugar and vegetable oil is added to those supermarket versions. The natural one separates and is an acquired taste. Another one is cereals. I don't know why people here have started eating sugar and paper for breakfast. Oats, muesli, eggs and an array of quick Indian breakfast is available. It doesn't make you healthy. Unless you are used to consuming deep-fried street food for breakfast, this thing is not worthy. Protein powders. I thought they would fill me up so that I won't have cravings, and all I got is double the hunger and spare pounds. I feel you. I just want to be full and satisfied, but it doesn't happen. Most gluten-free foods. Gluten is not at all bad for you if you don't have celiac disease or gluten intolerance, debatably. Foods don't have gluten but should generally taste like total shit, so the companies pack it even more full of fat, sugar, and salt.